Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Did I play music just now? Yeah, I did. Okay. It doesn't appear to be anyone in the chat. It doesn't appear to be anyone in the chat, so I'm going to not explain what we're about to do. Hello, welcome to the Daily Study Group. My name is Miguel Coronado. I'm an illustrator in Austin, Texas. It's 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's the new time for the Daily Study Group. It might be inconvenient for others, but it's easy for me to do this 1 hour every morning and then get on with my day. So that's what we're going to be doing. That's what I'm going to be doing. If you can't follow me or find me live in the mornings, you can watch my archive videos or go onto youtube.com/Mike086 and find the videos on there. You can also follow CJ Marsh from the Crimson Daggers forum, and you can follow along with his stream and what they're studying, or you can come over here and follow my own, or ideally maybe follow both of us. If you're really just starting out, you could jump from stream to stream and follow everyone's studies. We're posting on the Crimson Daggers forum. My username in the Crimson Daggers is Mike086. My website where you can find my work is www.mciii.net. Find me on Facebook, facebook.com/IIIMCIII. Thanks for joining me. I'm just drinking some coffee. It doesn't, right now as I stream this live, there's no viewers in the stream. There's no streaming viewers, which means I'm just going to start doing the composition studies. If you don't know what I'm doing, the other video can be found right here. It's in the stream archive. It says Crimson Daggers Daily Study Group 18 comps. Okay? So if you don't know what I'm doing, the video is called Crimson Daggers Daily Study Group 18 comps. www.livestream.com/MCIII. Alright, if you're watching this on YouTube, you just look for the video titled Daily Study Group 18. That's all you gotta do. I'm just gonna start doing the comps without explaining. But basically, I gotta kind of loosely do it anyway. So I'm gonna go Cinema Squid. And without really thinking about it, I'm gonna go to screenshots. I'm just gonna close my eyes, scroll down real quick. Don't go too far down. I'm gonna pick the first movie that stands out to me. This one here. I don't know what it is. Barry Lyndon. It's a Kubrick film. I know that much. I've never seen it. There, see this still? I'm going to do this still. Didn't even think about it. Not even thinking about it. I'm just doing it. All I know is that Stanley Kubrick made Barry Lyndon, and he's a very masterful at composition. Any of the directors, if they're not masters at composition, their director of photography was. So generally you're safe. You got a safe bet picking any movie still. If you don't want to do movie stills, you could do this with classical paintings. The reason movie stills work really well is because movies are all about telling stories. And if you want to learn how to tell stories through composition, look up a movie still. Kind of get how it works. Okay. Looks like a viewer just joined the chat. If a viewer just joined, I'm going to explain what I'm doing for you. This is all for you. Every bit of this has been for you. This whole time. No, not me. I'm going to explain what I'm doing if you're in the chat. But you were the first to join this morning. Okay. I went to cinemasquid.com. I pulled off like a movie still. It doesn't matter which movie. Don't be picky. Just pick a movie. Like, just pick the first one you see. I scrolled down a bit and I found this image that stood out to me. It's from Barry Lyndon. So I threw the image, copy and pasted it into Photoshop. Now what I'm doing is I clicked outside the image with the magic wand tool. I go to selection, inverse. I create a new layer. And I'm just gonna paint bucket tool white. Okay. Paint bucket tool white. Create new layer. Option, click between the two layers. Create new layer. Option, click again. So if you look at your layer setup, you should have. Okay. If you look at your, oh my god, hold on, sorry. If you look at your layer setup, you should have a white rectangle on one layer, your original movie still on another layer, and two blank layers. The rectangle needs to match the movie still exactly for this to help out. For this to work. Someone else just joined the chat, so I'm not going to explain it again, but I'll do it when I get my next movie still. I'll explain it again. I'm not going to do it right now, because I actually got to do the study. But basically what we're doing is we're breaking down movie stills into 3 colors. That's what we're doing. 3 colors. So, got a white layer. I'm going to go up here to this second layer, change it to multiply. I'm going to go to the 3rd layer, change it to multiply. And with just a flat, hard round brush, I'm just going to come in here and put in what I see, kind of as quickly as possible. Okay. This is from a movie called Barry Lyndon. I've never seen it, but I know that it's by Stanley Kubrick. We're going to break it down into 3 tones. We're basically creating a no-tan, but a little bit of a three color no-tan. Okay, so we gotta make some decisions. So the background doesn't look as dark as the hat. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm gonna cut out a space for the background because it doesn't look as dark as her hat to me. And the baby is probably the lightest thing on this picture. So the background, like I said again, her hat looks the darkest, so I'm going to kind of keep her hat the darkest thing on there. I started out by drawing in everything, but as I've been taking a look at it, the hat seems to be the darkest. Go up to this new layer, it's set to multiply, selecting this 50% gray. We're going to just put in everything else. Good. Right now, the way I'm seeing this picture, her hair and the background don't have much of a value shift. You understand what I'm saying? So, her hair and the background don't really shift values. So, to me, that background is like the same kind of gray as her hair. I feel like that's the most accurate way to depict it with these two colors. And then I'm going to go through this again if y'all don't know what I'm saying. If y'all know what I'm doing or what I'm talking about, I'll go through it again from the beginning. Because a bunch of viewers just joined up. And if you're watching this on YouTube later, you're just going to hear me explain this over and over again. So just deal with it. It's cool. It's not a big deal. This part of her head looks different. And right here, the baby's face looks darker than the costume. So the baby's face is like darker than her skin. Her skin's whiter than the costume almost. So you get the idea how this works. Here's her mouth. That's a good breakdown. Like I said before, to me, the hair in this picture and the background look the same. Like, they don't really differentiate. So that's all the same gray color, because her skin and her shoulder stands out from the background. And then her hat's the darkest thing in here. So I made the hat black. The hair and the background don't differentiate from each other. The baby is a light color surrounding two darker colors. So the baby is the white, face and the arm are the gray. That's it. We only have three colors, so we only get you to work with those three colors. Now I'm going to take move still and just delete it. I don't need to worry about that anymore. All I want is the comp study, the comp thumbnail. I haven't posted these comps. I haven't posted these comps from yesterday yet, so I'll just post a bunch of them when I'm kind of done filling out this up, today when I fill this up. So I'm just trying to make them all the same size. Like I said before, if you're joining me just now, I'll go through this whole process again and explain it so y'all can follow along. Okay, it's close enough. Okay, so we're gonna go Cinema Squid. Website's called Cinema Squid, like the creature, like a squid. We just click on screenshots. Find a movie. Doesn't matter what movie it is. Just pick it out. Like, pick it out fast. Don't think about it. Don't try and find a movie that you know. Don't try and find a movie that you don't know. Just pick the first movie that stands out. I scrolled down. I kind of closed my eyes and scrolled down, and I saw this image of the woman with the baby. Where you go? Stop it. There we go. I clicked on it. This is Barry Lyndon. I know this is a Stanley Kubrick film, and it tells me anyway who it's by. Okay, we're going to go to the next image. I'm not really picking and choosing these images. I'm just going one by one, whether I like them or not. I'm going to go one by one and pick out each composition and break them down. Okay? Let's go back over. So, how do we do it? First we paste the image. Paste the image. Use the magic wand tool to select outside the image. Make a new layer. Invert the layer. Go up to select inverse. Okay? Press G for the paint bucket tool. Fill it in white. Make a new layer. Option or Alt click between the two layers. make another layer. Option Alt click between that layer and the one previous. Turn the top two layers that are matched up to the bottom white layer to multiply. Now you can deselect everything. It's crappy doing that. Deselect everything and just move the white layer down. That's all you need to do. And basically, as fast as we can, and actually I'll time myself in a little bit, but for now I'm just going to worry about for now I'm just going to worry about I don't know what I'm saying. For now I'm going to just not worry about it. Just going through the process. Okay, I've got like a brush that's set to 100% opacity, 100% flow. I think it's got wet edges, but it doesn't really matter. Just don't set it so that it's transparent. My viewership went down. But anyway, for all those that stayed, glad you listened to me explain everything again. This image to me, like the trees, the wall, and this tree are the darkest thing in the image. The sky right here is the lightest thing in the image. Which means if those are the darkest and that's the lightest, everything else is going to be gray. Like that's how I'm justifying all the gray I'm going to put in here. Because there's elements that are lighter and darker than it. And we're not going to worry about the subtle differences in value. We're going to worry about the basic breakdown of shapes. That's all we're going to worry about. So, basically, we've got a giant block of gray. Giant block of gray and some really dark colors, the whites here, and let's go up to the top layer, turn this to black. The gray I'm using is 50% gray. It doesn't have to be 50% gray, it could be 70% or 30% or whatever. I think just the fact that you're using 3 different tones. Here's the tree, real quick. There's a little bit of wall right here. And then we're going to have a wall that cuts all the way to here. And then we have the rest of the wall continues down. Another tree. Kind of goes into this other tree that's cut off. Excuse me. It's cut off frame. Okay, and now let me go back to the gray layer, because the gray part of the landscape comes just above this wall. And I kind of cut it off. And this white is right here. The gray is like right here. Okay, now back to the black layer. There's figures. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like they're having a duel, because they both have their arms outstretched to each other and they're pointing at each other. These 3 men are just kind of watching. This guy has his hand up. Okay, there. That's it. That's the breakdown. The basic shapes. And I could go further. I could go further and break it down into more tones of gray. But that's not the point of this. Just going to delete this. The point of this exercise is to quickly break down the compositions into the larger shapes that they have available. Let's move this up here. We're just going to shrink this down. go. I'm just trying to keep them organized so I have a nice little sheet to show off when I'm done. I'll post to the forum later. Okay. So if you're just joining me and you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just going to kind of keep saying it over and over again. Go to the next one. Just grab the next still. It doesn't matter what's going on. If you're live streaming it, it does matter if it has nudity. I think they could ban you if you have nudity in it, just so y'all know. But don't live stream it if it's got nudity, because you'll get banned from the website. I'm pretty sure you'll get banned. Oops, didn't make a new layer. So these first few steps, I just told y'all those first few steps so that you can have your layers organized. But like I said before, just create a new layer. Create a new layer, and then create 2 new layers on top of that layer. You have 3 layers. One's a white background. The 2 layers on top are set to multiply. You option click between those layers so that it sets the it's called like isolation mode, where you can only draw within inside the layer. I'm sorry, you can only draw within inside the active pixels. So like right now, if you've never used this before, like I can't draw outside the white because the white is giving me it's basically making a mask. But if you've never used that before, you don't know what I'm talking about. It's okay. We're just going to break each movie still down into 3 colors. Just 3 colors, that's it. This one's pretty easy, so this is the best example. So like, background's the darkest, she's the lightest, he's a little darker. And if there's only 3 colors, it means he's going to be gray, she's going to be majority white, and then everything else is going to be black. So, you got him. Just get it done fast. Don't make it look beautiful. Just do it. Just get it done. Don't spend a lot of time on this. Right, we're going to speed this up. I think maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll actually time it. Okay. Something I do notice though is that, well, she is the lightest. Her cleavage is darker, so that area is going to be gray because it's darker than her dress. And you understand why I made that choice in a second. Well, I mean, it's not much to understand. All I'm trying to say is that little decisions like that you gotta make in this process. It's one of the things you gotta do. It's just kind of like call out between this, like what's gonna be what. If there's only 3 colors, you gotta make a decision. Okay. Just go through actually we can make our brush bigger too so it doesn't take so long. But what we're going to really do later is, I might do this tomorrow really, but I'm going to set my timer for like 2 minutes. Or we'll start off like 5 minutes, then I'll set my timer for 2 minutes, and I'll set my timer for 1 minute, and we'll just kind of speed up this process. And we're going to have to build up. First of all, you gotta just start making marks. Like, once you have that timer going, it's gonna become like a time crunch to like get things done. just going to put in this like line right here, which is something I wouldn't do if I had the time crunch, but I'm doing it now. Okay, that's it. That's pretty much the breakdown. Actually, I could probably take out some of the gray around his face, right here, because those highlights kind of make his face pop out a little bit. Alright, that's it. I'm going to take these 3 layers I just used, put them in a folder. I've just been numbering them by the still, just like I'm not calling it anything. I'm going to delete the movie still, I don't need that anymore. I've just been numbering them by the movie still, like which one I've done. So this one's number 9, because that's the one I'm on right now. But other than that, it's just my own little way of categorizing it. Resize. Okay. Move it off to the side. Let's go do another one. Just keep doing this. That's all we're going to do today. These next few days, it's all I'm really focusing on is composition. But I'll mix it up a bit. Especially when we start timing everything. When we start timing everything, I'll have an excuse to like do some comp studies, and do still life, and then like, you know, kind of start everything off with some comp studies. This is how you study composition. You gotta find compositions and break them down and find out why other people do them. I think the biggest thing people do is they talk about the golden rule, the rule of thirds, shape composition, but beyond that, you gotta just look at stuff and like analyze it. We're not doing the analyzing yet. I like to do that at the end. But before you stop the study today, you need to stop and either write down notes, or you need to stop and either write down notes, or just say aloud. If you're live streaming it, say aloud what you see in each composition and like what's important. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. We'll start with the gray. So before I go, the darkest part to me, the stuff that seems to be the darkest, is all the foreground. In terms of contrast, all this is the darkest, right? The rest is like a gray, and then this line of soldiers is going to be like black because they stand out. The flag is going to be white, and then this top part is going to be white. That's how I'm going to break it down, okay? So, starting with the horizon, because that's like the easiest break between the values. We're going to, oops, you need to set that to multiply. Starting with the horizon, we're just going to add in the gray. Add in the gray. It doesn't have to take long though. It's not about drawing it, it's about just getting in the tones. So, oops, don't feel that you need to sit there and brush in everything. Let's try and guesstimate where those flags are. The flags are about a little off center underneath the peak, one flag underneath this peak. So right about here's one flag. Here's the other flag. New layer. Take black. And then we got like a carriage. Horses. People. 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 Carriage. Horses. People. And then we got soldiers. You got like 1, 2, 3 soldiers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a bunch of soldiers here. Soldiers, soldiers, soldiers. These guys are on top of the carriage. Another soldier, and then a bunch more soldiers. Soldiers, soldiers, soldiers. Soldiers, 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 soldiers. Guys on top of the carriage. To kind of break that line. And that's it. That's all I see. As far as like, I guess we could turn the women white. I guess, yeah, let's do that. Let's make the women white. So, the women in their dresses kind of stand out as white against gray instead of black against gray. So we're going to kind of do, I think that's more accurate right there. Okay. Put them in a new folder. This one's 10. We're keeping all the layers separate, and there's a reason for that. I guess I haven't mentioned that either. If keep the layers separate, because we're going to come back another day and probably mess around with these. Go. Let's delete the movie still. I don't need that anymore. Let's keep going. It's another one. Next one. Like I said before, the thing that I'm doing, the one thing I am stressing is that, well, I'm stressing different points, but when it comes to picking the movie still, don't waste your time looking for the perfect movie. Just pick a movie. Just do it. Preferably one that's well known. Just because, like, the reason to be well known is probably because it was good, which means it probably had thought put into everything. Some of the really shitty movies don't work because they don't have good composition. But generally, most movies have a decent sense of composition and storytelling. But if you really want like a specific, like, what movie should I choose? Anything by Kubrick or Spielberg is always a good choice. Or anything, any old movie. Yeah, but anyway. Okay. I say Kubrick especially because he had a huge focus on composition. So quickly, this is how I'm breaking it down. The sky is the lightest part. This tree is dark. This series of bushes are dark. The characters stand out as dark, dark. He stands out as slightly lighter. Everything else is gray. So again, I'm going to start with the horizon, just cutting out that shape. Okay. General shape of the trees there. Got the building. Got that. Okay, so we established that this dude is going to be light on the gray. So I'm going to erase some of the gray out for him. That's it. That's all I need to do. I don't need to make this complicated. Go up, pick out the black color. We're just going to add in the tree. Kubrick was a master at composition. Like, he knew what he was doing in every shot. So I'll explain lots of this stuff from what I know from some documentaries over him and general knowledge of composition. I'm not that, I need to work on composition and storytelling. That's the thing I need to work on. That's why I'm doing lots of these. So, within this image, I do want to address that there is within this image there is another level going on, right? So if the sky, let me just get another color so you can see. I guess it's blue. The sky is the lightest. This is the lightest color here. All this chunk, all this block is gray, right? It's all, the reason it's gray is because it's not as dark as the tree, it's not as light as the sky. So it must be the gray color. But within this gray tone, we have dark on light, so this gray of the building is lighter than his head, so his head stands out against the building. And the white of his uniform here, or his, I say uniform, it's just his clothing. The white of his clothing, the beige color, stands out against the gray, the green, sorry. And also, his jacket kind of frames him. But there's like another level of gray and like stuff going on that I'm not going to show in this, but I just want to say that before I stop doing this one. Okay. Like I said before, the one thing we are going to do at the end that everyone needs to do, whether you're live streaming or not, you either need to write down some notes about each composition that you did, or you need to say out loud the notes. You're probably thinking to yourself, what are the notes? What notes are you talking about? I wasn't taking notes. I'm just saying just some notes about the piece that you just did. Like, we're going to spend an hour doing these, so after doing all of them, you gotta have something to say about them. Breaking down the simple shapes is it's like deconstructing an alphabet. You gotta look and see how everything's constructed. Going down to the next picture. I guess the one thing I'm harping on is that just don't waste your time looking for movie stills. Just find the first movie still that interests you and just start doing that movie. It doesn't matter what it is. Unless it's a super, super terrible movie. And it doesn't. But it's still good to break down the composition. You can still break down the composition and see, okay, this is not as good as it could have been. Oops. Do new layer. New layer. If anyone needs me to explain exactly what I'm doing, just let me know. I've explained it a few times over now, but if you're trying to follow along and you don't know what I'm doing, I'm more than happy to explain it again because it just helps, makes a difference if you know if you know what's going on. If you don't know what's going on, just type it into the chat. Okay. Just type it into the chat and I'll address everything that needs to be addressed. We're breaking down each composition into 3 colors: black, gray, white. I'm kind of quickly making decisions about what goes where. Right off the bat, the tree and the people have the highest contrast. Light, dark, light, dark. A background's going to be majority gray, but we are going to have a dark patch here, dark patch, and then we're going to have this contrast there, so it's going to look a little messy, but y'all get it. Oops, okay, doesn't matter, I'm going to color over it anyway. Hello, thanks for joining me. We're doing composition breakdowns. I'm taking movie stills and breaking them down to 3 colors and identifying the big shapes. Okay, that's what I'm doing, if you're wondering. I'm going to go ahead and cut out some of the gray color. Oops, I didn't have white selected. Also, I need to turn these layers to multiply. That way I can use the white. We're cutting out just some of the gray color here because this blue looks about as light as the sky itself, so I gotta kind of address that by putting it in to kind of match. And likewise, there is this area looks pretty light in the frame, and that's like the grass that's being hit by the sun. Okay, and now we're going to go into the new layer, which is going to be black. I guess I won't turn this layer on. This layer is not going to be set to multiply because I want to be able to come in here and central figure whose head almost goes up to the top. Boom, there he is. He's got his hand out. He's like, listen to me. I don't know what he's saying. I've never seen this movie, but I do know that it was inspired by classic oil paintings from the masters. He tried to achieve a look with the lighting that he tried to achieve a look of the oil painting in each shot, and each picture is supposed to be a painting. Like, it's supposed to look like a painting from that time, recreating specific scenes from specific paintings too. And most of the camera work was done in low light with only candle lighting to achieve lighting effects that were only seen in oil paintings. It's considered one of the most beautifully shot movies, but also one of the most boring. Especially like Stanley Kubrick's films. It's considered one of the most boring movies he ever made. I keep that in mind, just like later on when I kind of go back in here, I'm going to explain my notes, and I like to do it at the end. Do it at the end, explain everything that I see. This other shape I'm putting in are these bushes, these trees here. They look darker than the rest of the background. I mean, they're not this dark. These bushes, these trees here, look darker than most of the other background, so I'm going to have to call it and say it's black. because it looks like the contrast in this area is so much greater than this area here and the area here. But I need to call it as black, and there's only 3 colors, so I only have an option of calling it black, white, or gray. We're trying the best we can to break the stuff down into 3 colors, and you got to make these decisions. And that's like one of the main reasons for doing this. Is like make these decisions, and try and be fast about it. I mean, don't make them look too pretty. With that said, don't make them look too ugly either. We will be timing ourselves probably tomorrow. I'll start timing. We'll start off with a 5-minute thumbnail, 2 minutes, and then 1 minute each. And we'll do that for like 10 minutes. So we like 10 real fast. Boom, 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 boom. What is this? 12? I think it's 12. Check the chat. I don't think anyone said anything. Cool. It's cool if you don't say anything. I'm just trying to make sure that y'all know what I'm doing. If you're confused, just let me know. I forgot to post my studies yesterday, but I didn't really have much. I only did a few thumbnails. I was kind of slow yesterday doing them. Like, I was explaining a lot. But we're going faster today and just moving right along. Okay, next one. Looks like it's this one. Just pick the next one. Don't be picky. If you're being picky, means you're just wasting time. Just pick the next one. Especially if you're like doing a sorry. Well, it could be Star Wars or something. This is my own movie, but if you are doing a movie from like a well-known director, or like a movie that won Best Cinematography, just don't be picky. Just pick it. Just trust that these guys did it better than you are going to do it. I heard a noise. Facebook does that thing where it beeps now. Like where it's been doing it for a while now, but like you get an update, it beeps, tells you like, hey, someone also commented. Where it's just like, it's really that important. It's really that important that you comment. Okay. So in this case, face is the darkest image. The highlight in her hat is the brightest, and everything else is gray. So. There you go. Step 1 done. So obviously the contrast of her against the gray, her against the background is not as great as the contrast of the black against the gray, but remember, you gotta make decisions. You gotta make decisions on what's going on here. We can probably come in and cut into our features a bit with the razor tool. Oh yeah. So that's a multiply. Set it to multiply, that way I can erase with just the white and not have to flip my pen. So this part stands out as lighter. This is light hitting her. Also, just as a lighting study, note how blue the light is on her face. You got all that, the atmosphere, everything around her, it's just being reflected off her face. Just a quick note. Just quick note. There you go. guess I gotta come in here and erase this. The rim light, the hat, literally a rim light on the hat rim, or I guess it's brim light. True brim light. Brim light. Okay. She's also got a little bit of a rim light there on her face here. It's subtle, but I do know that there's like a slight bit of a halo outlining her face. Likewise, her hair kind of turns into this little highlight sprig. Okay, there we go. There, it's good enough. It's good enough. That really is good enough. It's all we need. We just need to break it down real fast. It doesn't even look pretty. It really is going to be quantity over quality for these thumbs. They aren't photo studies. They're composition studies. All we care about are the shapes. That's all we care about. That's all I care about are the shapes. That's all I'm ever going to care about, the shapes. Okay. Okay. Next one. Next one. This one looks similar to the one we did already. But we'll do it again. There's no harm in doing it again. It's only going to make you better at this particular scenario. Lighting. Composition. Not really lighting, but composition. Oh my gosh. Oh, I was up late. I was up late, and I told myself I'd do this at 9 a.m. every day. I said it would make it easier for the people. The people. If you did at 9 a.m. every day. But I was up late last night, so I could have made it easier for myself if I had said I'll do it every day at noon. It would have been a little more of a, you know, just so you know, just so you know, just so you know. Would have been more of a thing if I could have done it a little later, but I chose 9 a.m. I think I chose it because I feel like I was being lazy, getting up late. Now if I have to get up at 9 a.m., it kind of forces me to wake up, become alert, have some coffee, and by the time I'm done with this, I'm probably just gonna stay up. If I don't stay up, it means I'm gonna stay up late. Anyway. Gotta do emails today. It's gonna be kind of a boring day. I'm not gonna be drawing as much. I gotta send out my portfolio, try and get jobs. Gotta update I have a new piece I did, this vampires thing. I gotta post that on all those CG Hub and DeviantArt and the everythings. Oh, here, let me break it down real quick. So, the lightest lights are this grass in the foreground, the highlight in the trees, strip the light back here. So we're gonna have lots of gray, but it's not gonna be so much. It's not gonna be like the other ones where it's like everything is gray. Anyway, today's gonna be a little bit of a boring day to start. I'm gonna be emailing, and then I'm gonna have to not go crazy because I hate sending out the emails and doing the actual kind of like getting the job part of the job, having to try and get the job part of the job. That part's, well, at least at this point in my career, I don't like that part of the job because I'm not getting the jobs. I would enjoy it much more if I knew I was going to get at least an email back from somebody. But I will be doing that today. Send the portfolio out. Try and get the gerbs. Tree, little tree, part of tree. Okay, now the black layer. All the trees have it. This tree actually comes out way past the frame. No, sorry, way past the center. It's not past the frame. I guess it is past the frame, but I meant to say past the center. Got the tree. This tree. Great. Then there's this darker bunch of bushes behind these trees. And then like this line of darker bushes kind of goes along here. Got another dark area here. And then there's like this dude here standing. And then there's this woman. Okay, make his legs. There's a woman that's standing. There's this dude who's bigger, but also standing. These two figures in the background. Okay. There's lots of similar things going on in this picture from yesterday's comps. Similarities are important to note because it kind of tells you that there's just certain things that are acceptable that you should try and strive for. They're like the basics. So like in composition, it's like anything else. There's like the basic things you need to do. And then there's like those above and beyond things. And the above and beyond things, those things make people go, whoa. I didn't think to do that. But anyone that does that kind of stuff normally has a huge, well, normally always has handle on the basics. Yesterday I was listening to the Collective podcast with Brad Rigney by Ash Thorpe. It's really good. They don't talk about art much. I mean, like, he talks about his process a little bit at the end, but Ash Thorpe, the Collective is always known for kind of just being pretty informal and, like, in a good way. But Brad Rigney has got a good talk on there. For anyone's listens to that. Okay. Just keep going. Just gotta keep doing this forever. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. File set up a certain way. Okay. So with this image, I feel like the breakdown should be this stuff is black, their faces are light on the black, the background's gray, but there's actually not much. Let me do it like this. Okay, so this is what I'm getting from this. This is how I'm going to break it down. There's a tree. The tree comes out to like here. And there's this dude here. He's got a hat on. His face is like white on black. Same, it's this dude here. His face is white on black. He's so dark, his face is like white. There's this guy here who's kind of overlapping a bit. I think this is Barry Lyndon himself, the character. This movie's called Barry Lyndon, if anyone's wondering. Then background, so this is all gray. Gray. So a little bit of light right here at the top. I feel like even this blue is gray. Like, and I mean by that, what I mean by that is the blue is about the same value as the trees. It's not like a Barry Lyndon. Speckled Jones. I think it's not Speckled Jones, I just made that up. Okay. There's a huge change. Huge changes, to me, I feel like it's kind of important to this composition because it takes up such a big block of space. So just delineate that. I'm just gonna like shade in a hue change with by hatching. That's where the water is. It's reflecting the sunlight and the sky, which would be the same color, about the same color. I just feel like that's important because it's like such a huge block of color. It's in that, excuse me, in the composition. Yes, this is it. Okay. These are all from today. These ones up here from yesterday. This is the Shawshank Redemption. I took longer on this. I'm taking less time on these. Try not to explain as much too. I'm gonna stop taking a good coffee because I love coffee. Okay. This is a cool one. It's to do with a gun. Popular subject. Dude points gun at camera. Tells cameraman, back off. Cameraman says, just doing my job. What are you gonna do? I'm just doing my job. I'm tired, people. I'm tired. I went to bed late. I want y'all to understand that. I shouldn't have gone to bed late. It was irresponsible of me. But I was drawing stuff, so I kind of feel like it was okay. I also did a blog post on my website, and the blog post is up, and it's totally awesome. It actually is important, though, so I did do a blog post, and oops, wrong color. What's up with this? What's wrong with this color? Why is it not? This should be like a darker gray. Oh, my opacity was set down to 15. Oh, let me try. Oh crap, I can set opacity like that? Guys, I just figured out I can set opacity by, look at the numbers. Okay, that makes way more sense. Cool. Anyway, I don't want to set opacity right now. I need pin pressure for that shit. Naturally I drew on the wrong layer. Naturally I drew on the wrong layer. Naturally I've been drawing on the wrong layer. Damn it all. Okay. Let's do this again. Starting off with the gray for him. So you can press the number pad. You can press the number pad and it adjusts the opacity of your brush. Totally did not realize that till just now. As I always have the pin pressure set to opacity. I just don't use it. So that's just the effect. Use the pin pressure. I don't use the numbers. I do use the opacity settings. Pin pressure set to opacity, except for right now. Right now it's 100%. For this, you should keep it 100% also. Don't set it to opacity. The black colors. Just a little bit of the sky peeking out right there. And then the barrel of the gun. Oops. I should split this. Naturally, it's going to be all colored over. A little bit of the light there. And his eyes are dark. looks like a dark shape here too, which is the rest of the gun, but it just kind of looks a lot darker than the rest of it. The rest of it meaning his face. Yeah, this is actually, I'm going to change that. This gun barrel actually lines up with his eyes, which is pretty important. I definitely want to keep that in there, because otherwise I'm going to forget to talk about that. It's like right next to his eyes. There we go. It's more like it. Okay. Oh man, I just love it. I just love all these compositions. Uh-oh, I have 215s. This is 60. Just doing this composition stuff. Gonna get better. I want to see what that Espen, if y'all know who Espen is. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Espen, he's from Finland. I think he's from Finland. Or Sweden. I don't know. Norway. He's from Norway. Is that it? He's going to be doing that Gotta Get Better program. I'd like to see what that's all about. See what his plans are. Gotta Get Better program. But just kind of excited to see what he's going to got cooked up his sleeve. This will be the last one for today. And then I'm going to talk about all of them real quick. So, if y'all are following along, you're more than welcome to stop what you're doing when I start talking about them and just hear my notes, because that's going to be something. I don't know if y'all are doing the exact same stills I am, but if you're not, my notes are going to be different from your notes. So you should listen. Or if not listen, you should at least take note. Okay. It's mostly gray. I probably want to do I know I said don't pick the movie out, but I feel like tomorrow I'd like to do a Coen Brothers movie. Well, that works out really well. I'll talk about what I'm saying in a second. It's a darker shape here. It's just the rocks, I think. He's darker. Get his arm around her. I feel like that shape's pretty dark too. I don't know if I'm going to make it black though. I think it's dark enough that I should address it, so I'm going to hatch it in. Just going to cross hatch. Not cross hatch, sorry, just hatch. Cross hatch is when you make them crisscross. If you want to know what the difference is. If you didn't already know that. Something I think everyone kind of figured out. Kind of hatch in that value, just because it doesn't look that dark, but it's dark enough that it's creating a big shape, you know? So like I don't want to exclude that. Okay. Same thing with this little mountain thing, this little hill in the background. Crosshatch the hill in. I'm sorry, I keep saying crosshatch, I mean hatch. Just hatch that hill in. Anyway. Okay, let's talk about these real quick. 17. I'll also post these up, but I didn't post them up yesterday. Oh, shit. 17. Just delete that. Okay. So, I've never seen Barry Lyndon before. Just so y'all know. I saw Shawshank Redemption, so I knew certain story elements from that movie, and I was able to kind of call things out yesterday. But I don't know this movie. I do know like the story behind the making of the movie, and that what Stanley Kubrick was trying to do, which was mimic classic paintings. Oh, you know what? If I did one more, it would be a perfect little grid. So I'm going to do one more. Oh, nice. That's a good one, too. Okay, so here's a quick story about Barry Lyndon, in case y'all didn't know. It's a super fancy camera that existed in Kubrick's time, and it exists today, I think, still. But the camera could do, like, if anyone done f-stops for a camera, like, you know that the lower the number, the more light it takes in. So like an f-stop of 2 can take in a lot of light. An f-stop of 22 is pretty dark. It doesn't take in that much light. Okay? So just littler number means you can take in more light. Higher number means you can't. Well, there's this camera that Kubrick, he found out that they kind of had this surplus of these cameras, and he found out that they were going to stop making them. So what Kubrick did was he, what is it called? Just trying to find the name of the camera. Here we go. So there was this camera that was developed by NASA to, called the Zeiss camera. I think it's called the Zeiss camera. And it has an f-stop of 0.7. Right? Let me say that again. The f-stop of 0.7. Which means it can take so much light in that Kubrick is able to light scenes by candlelight. That image is terrible to show you, but he was able to light scenes by candlelight, recreating the look of classic paintings, such as this one. The paintings were depicted by candlelight at night, and back then, you know, there was no electricity. So he knew this camera existed it was developed for NASA, and they're these set of lenses. That's what they were. They're a set of lenses for NASA, and he got this camera company to retrofit a camera with these super powerful lenses that had a 0.7 f-stop, the lowest f-stop in film history. Okay? They also had a fixed focal length. So he modified these cameras to take these super low light images. And with that, he was able to get scenes. Let me scroll down here and see if I can find some. Here we go. Scenes like these. where the main character is being lit only by candlelight. If you've never shot in film, or if you've never shot in like a digital camera, like a digital SLR, it's incredibly hard. Like you need a really, really good lens to get low light, let alone candlelight. Like candlelight, it look like shit. It just won't work. There's just not enough light coming from those candles. So here we go. It's more like it. A scene like this. Let me expand it. A scene like this with the candlelight, it's like impossible to get with a standard camera lens and standard camera. But if you have a camera lens that was developed by NASA to take film on the moon, then you can achieve it. The f-stop was 0.7 f-stop. So, and like, you know, the other thing is that the camera lens is developed for cameras to go to the moon. They weren't developed for movie cameras. So he got a cinematographer, and he contacted a camera company and asked them to basically modify one of their cameras to fit these lenses. You know, so he knew what he needed, and he asked for it and got it done. So that's some knowledge about Barry Lyndon in terms of like lighting and stuff. And if you've used a camera before, like a DSLR or an SLR, where you actually have to like switch out the lenses and stuff, you know that like low light, unless you have a really nice lens, low lighting is hard to get without it looking fuzzy. And then in the case of like film, the film looks grainy in low light conditions. But like this like composition I'm doing now with clouds and stuff, like it's part of him having that camera. Like that lighting, like look at the lighting in this picture and just like kind of realize that you've not seen lighting like this before, because most movies don't get that kind of dynamic range. Not dynamic range, sorry, but low light. Just a quick tidbit about Barry Lyndon. I only know that from a documentary about Stanley Kubrick. I've not seen the movie. I should see the movie, but I heard it's super boring. So I heard. Well, I heard it's super boring in comparison to Stanley Kubrick's other movies, which include The Shining and Full Metal Jacket and Eyes Wide Shut, which is just a weird movie. That's a good one right there. Anyway, it's done. Actually, there is a little bit of damn it, did it on one layer. Whatever. So much for that. It is on one layer, but there is a little bit of a lighter value right here. And these pine trees run up right here. The pine trees continue. It's a lighter value just beyond this guy's head. Okay, let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about all these. What's that? I did 17? So that means this is 18. I didn't do all these today. I did these. I did the first 9. No, I didn't do the first 9. I did one. I did 6 the first day. I was going a lot slower because I was explaining everything over and over again. Okay. Oops. Let's go over our notes now. And they're not any notes I wrote down, they're just notes that I'm making mentally. Mental notes, which probably would be better if I wrote them down, just to kind of get them ingrained in my head, but To say them out loud will also help. Okay, oops, so a little more. So I want to also thank Carlton Tomlin, who you probably don't know who he is, but he's an illustrator that explained this method to me. It's like he calls them storyboarding, like storyboard, kind of like just like frame breakdowns. So, my goodness, oh God, I'm tired. Thank you, Carlton, for showing me this. Thank you, Michael, for making me wake up at 9 a.m. Okay, let's go to this first one. It was a woman holding her baby. The contrast was a lot lower on this one, and the baby's outfit was a lot whiter than the skin of the baby itself, so it creates this framing device along the baby's head. And then, let me get a new layer started up, so I can show you all what I'm talking about. We'll do this with red. Okay. So, the white in this frame creates a device that surrounds the baby's head. But the head is gray, surrounded by white, and the only other object that's gray surrounded by white is like the baby's arm right here. And generally, so let me start over again. Not gonna start over, but like when you read the frame, you always read left to right, unless you're like Japanese or Chinese and you grew up there and read right to left. So we always read left to right. So you start the read on her face, and her lips stand out against her skin. There's a dark shadow, and there's her hat. And basically, this dark shape and this arm creates a bridge to the face of the baby. It's surrounded by white. I say a bridge, I mean like it literally creates, like you see her face, you always get drawn to the eyes, and you see this shadow and this darkness, and it goes into this hand. You see the baby get drawn into its eyes. Your range of motion, your eye motion goes from one to the other. If you remember, if you were here earlier, this photo, she had a bunch of hair right here, but the hair, the contrast in the hair didn't stand out against the background. So because it didn't stand out against the background, I just made it the same gray color because it read as the same color. Next frame, there's a tree, a wall, another tree. So a duel is going on in this picture. The duel, this guy here with a gun, another guy here with a gun, and this guy here, he has his arm up, he's about to like officiate? He's about to like, monitor the duel. Just a real quick thing, the subjects are in the center third of the frame, and they are surrounded by a lighter value on the, so there's a hill, and that's like a lake behind them, and then there's like some more hills, but that lake cuts right through the frame, and it helps to highlight their figures against the lighter value. Because we read from right to left, we read from left to right, God, I just messed that up. We read from left to right. We see this tree, follow the wall, hit our subjects. That's kind of how it works. We just kind of stay within this area. The tree, and this wall are all framing devices. So within the frame, the director and the cinematographer are saying, just look at this here. Don't look at anything else. And if we weren't sure about where to look, they said, in fact, here, we're just going to highlight these guys by making this big white strip. Highlight them. Okay? So that's kind of how it works. Framing device, framing device, framing device. This limb kind of goes into a framing device. And then beyond that is a smaller framing device with the white, black on the white. Okay. Next one, it's a man putting his finger, like, pretty much into a woman's cleavage. Well, it's not in the cleavage, but, like, might as well be. It's really dark in the background. There pretty much is no background, just black. Like, it's so dark you can't see anything. The highlights on his face make his face pop out. Remember, we read it from left to right, so we start here. The brightest part of the composition is her dress. She has a white dress on. Her skin is not as light as the dress, so we're instantly drawn to this device here, which happens to be the cleavage. But from the cleavage, his hand brings us down and into his face. So you see how the movement goes. You go, look here, 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 here. Or you can, likewise, you can just be like, here, here, here. Kind of like jump to the face. But anyway, it's kind of how the motion goes. I feel like this one's more direct, like you kind of really just see them. Actually, the way the picture looks, you kind of follow the tree and the wall are so close on the second one. Sorry, I went back to the second one. The tree and the wall are so close to the foreground of the frame on the second one that your eyes start here and they lead you here. And then once you're led here, you suddenly realize, oh, there's people. And you look up here. It kind of feels like this when you're looking at it. Oh, hey, people. But the reason your eyes are led to this area is because of this wall and this tree. But in the end, they're also framing devices, creating a picture frame. Anyway. Okay, this next one. So, oh yeah, here's another thing too, on this third frame. The frame of the guy with the cleavage and the woman. You have his eye and the hand on the same level. So the way it's working right now, like, when you first see it, for me it felt like this. Like, you see woman's dress takes up most of the attention, then you see, oh wait, what's going on here? Cleavage, hand, eyes. But you could also kind of like be guided through the arm, because the arm stands out against the background. This next picture is the stagecoach. This is a stagecoach, a line of people, a line of soldiers, 2 flags. Oops. So, one thing we gotta remember, I talked about this yesterday, was like rhythm and shape language, or like echoing, rhythm and echoing. So like the stagecoach here, a stagecoach here. That's a framing device. That's just like setting up these nice little corners. Think of it like literally a picture frame, and there are these nice little inlays right here on the picture frame. You got a line of people, spectators. They're women in dresses, mainly women, I think, and a few guys. They're creating this line, and then the soldiers are echoing that same shape, which is a sequence of people, which is a line, right? It's another line. So you got these echoing shapes and this like recurring motif of people in a line. Then you got the flags here that stand out against the background. And the soldiers are just kind of looking towards the crowd, like they're demonstrating something. Just see on that. This picture, okay. This one had another level of gray behind this man. So this is a building here. All this, like the way I just highlighted, is a building. But you normally start from right to left, so it's, you normally start from left to right. So we kind of like, our attention is immediately drawn to him because he's a lighter color on the background. And we've got the trees And in this frame from earlier, the tree branches were literally pointing down this way. And that's something that Kubrick would do a lot with perspective. When there was an object in frame, he would pick out the correct lens that would allow the perspective to lead the eye. So like, he knew which lenses would distort what backgrounds. So he would have picked out the lens that he knew would have distorted the perspective enough to cause the lines of everything else to lead you to the center subject. So he willingly and knowingly chose, willingly sounds like accusing him of something, he knowingly chose to use lenses that would distort perspective enough to create these lines of focus. And basically the lines all lead to center subject. Something else that's going on in here is this sequenced items, sequenced things read as a line. So like up here, these guys that are standing on the horizon, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When the human being, the human eye sees sequenced people, it creates a rhythm, which creates a line. A more obvious example is this line of soldiers, line of people. The eye loves patterns. The human eye loves them. And when it sees them, it creates shapes. So what do we have going on here? There's a series of shrubs. They read as one shrub because the perspective is so, they're foreshortened so much. But we've also got these two guys here that stand out. So we got this 1, 2, 3, subject. Do it again real quick. But in the frame, we have a series of shrubs, and then 1, 2, subject. So, you see how that works. And on the other side, just in case you didn't realize that he was the subject, we have the branches that are pointing to his face. I know I didn't draw it that way in here, and not exactly pointing to his face, but like, in the actual photograph, the branches are like pointing down towards his face. Okay. Here's something else. So this is a different one. This is a man talking to a woman, and then in the background there's like a creek, and there's like a sky here. There's the sky. There's also this area of shrubbery and trees that cut through the center third and basically guide you from tree, which is high contrast, to the center subjects. The man's talking, his hands up, leads you to the woman. They're guiding the eye through the frame. Something else is going on though that might not be as apparent is this area of light. The creek itself creates a light value which runs through their eye line. You see that? How that works? So let's stop real quick and talk just briefly about this. When you have two characters talking in a movie or in a picture, and you have visual elements like a creek that runs between the eyes, or if it were like if it were a different movie and it was like a set of candles running between them, like in the background, those elements and having elements between characters affects the story. So like the creek, right now it acts as a tool to guide your eyes along the subject's face, and you're like, okay, like you can kind of read this another way. It's like you see this high area of contrast, and you see it has this limb that comes off from the tree. Like I drew it in because it was prominent. So the limb basically leads you across the eye line. And then the larger read is more of like that. But when you include objects between people as they talk, it's a way to signal or not signal conflict. Like if two people are having dinner and there's nothing between them in the background, and the background was like equal, you kind of think, oh, they're having an amicable conversation. But if in the background there was a bunch of objects and there was like flowers on the table, and the photographer or the cinematographer or the artist decided to put those objects between the subjects, it kind of signals that there's literally something between them in a negative way, like there's something keeping them apart from seeing literally eye to eye. We can go and read into this even further if we wanted to. Like if this were like a fine art painting, and it's just, a tree, two people talking, and some more trees. You've got the shape. This is really reading into it, but I'm just going to let y'all know. If this were like a fine art painting, you would read into this like a tree. It has a very prominent branch right here. It's kind of like a dude with his crotch. And then a woman here. Like, there's like an echoing of shapes going on. This isn't a fine art painting, but that's something that you got to think about, where you start, people might read into that. Like that's how people read into fine art paintings often. Anything that's phallic becomes instantly a penis, and it's read as that for not just a storytelling device, but like a subject matter. So like someone might say, oh, well, here's a tree, this obviously represents like a phallus, and here's a man with his arm out, it's echoing the shape of the tree, and this is a woman here, and she's just, I don't know what they'd say, but there's a shape language is being created. Now, obviously this is a frame of a movie, and the guy probably just had his arm out, but if it were a fine art painting, there's more you can read into it that way. Okay, anyway, just so you know. I mean, just that's what we did in like school. Like that's just how it's done, whether you like it or not. It's just how it is. But anyway, the important part though is that this area of value that's lighter runs across their eye level, and the shapes lead you through. But also, look, here's another thing about sequence. So it's like tree, man, woman. It's just a series. There's multiple things going on at once. So we have the sequence, and we have the actual lines created by the hills, the water, and some more hills, and then the shrubs. So like there's multiple things in the images, in the image, that's telling you to go from left to right. Multiple things. It's not just one thing. So when you design a picture, you don't just pick out rule of thirds and go, oh, first of all, it's not the rule of thirds, but the rule of thirds is like actually the thirds. There we go. You don't just pick out the rule of thirds guys and go, okay, I'm just gonna put it here, and that's it. That's all I need to do. Just put the head right here. That's like one of the things you do. And then the second thing you do is you think about what else in the picture can I help point and focus in that direction. The next frame is just a woman's face. This one's a little easier. In fact, this is kind of the rule of thirds right here. I don't think I did that right. About right, I think. Might be a little off. Yeah, it's a little off, but it's not measured out, but you kind of get the idea. In terms of the rule of thirds, there's several things. So like her head's off-centered, it's right here, but her eye does hit that. Her eye is right around that median, that division line, but her eyes are in the center third. Eyes in the center third. That's important. You know, like either they're in the center third, or they're on the upper third, or they're on the line. But like there's a particular place. You know, like it's never just like eyes are right here. Sometimes it's like that, but there's always more going on. If you read from left to right, we start here at this center point, which we got this object here that's cutting through the image, and the brightest part of the image is this highlight. And then from this highlight and this slanted object, we see a human face looking right at us. You see how we lead people through the frame that way? Well, that's how Stanley Kubrick leads people through the frame. Brightest part, dramatic slant, human face. Just kind of like boom, boom, boom. You just kind of start reading it like that. Next one. Let me think about this. This is there's two people in the background, two people here, and there's a dude right here, and he's closer to the camera than everyone else is because he's so much bigger. But here's another shape language thing. It's like first of all, there's the echoing rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Got those people. There's actually like 6 of them, but not 6 of them. There's actually just 5 of them. But so we got echoing shapes sequenced through the frame. Right. That's one of the things we talked about earlier. We got a series of lines that lead us across the frame. And in particular, there are some trees that are causing a dark shadow that lead us across the eye level and head level of all the characters. Eye level, head level characters. And even though these characters are in the center of the frame, even though they are in the center, the shapes that are being created are off-center. Okay. Anyway, you see how that works. This is another one. 3 dudes. I think this is part of that duel we saw earlier. Only because the next frame is a guy holding a gun. But we got echoing shapes. Their faces also create an echoing shape. The guy that's of interest, the main character, is this dude because he's got the most contrast. And then we got hills that come across their faces, and then this is actually water. And that I hashed it out because it looked like it was really blue, and then the background's really green. It's really green, but that green block kind of cuts off their heads visually, so it draws your eyes in right there. And then if you're kind of reading it from left to right, if you're just doing a really quick read, you know, it's like line, lines, another line, you know. Anyway, that last one not so much, but these two, like line to faces or line to subjects. And he's wearing a white shirt. They're not. They're all dark colored clothing. I'm trying to think what else. They're off-centered. The majority of the weight in this image is off-centered, even though the subject is almost dead center. There's always elements that are off-centered, or elements that are larger, that are taking off that tension, or like that stagnation that's created by having an element centered. Same thing with the frame above. The guy was like right in the center, but he had these elements here pointing you towards him, and it made it more of a, if you see the picture, the guy is like walking towards the camera. It looks like he's briskly walking. It looks like kind of like a moment of intensity, and even though it's just a guy in the center of the frame, it reads as more of an intense moment because like everything's kind of pointing to him. Next frame, this dude holding a gun. his face is the most high contrast in that photo, next to his sleeve, which has a bunch of rim lighting, and then the gun. One important part, the eyes and the barrel of the gun are on the same plane. That's a Barry Lyndon, it's a sorry, that's Stanley Kubrick thing too. Like, to have the actor line up the gun like that, that's like completely planned out. Like, he could have had the gun here, or he could have had the gun up here, or he could have had the gun more like directly into the camera. Like, there's any place he could have had the barrel and it could have still looked pretty dramatic, right? It could have still looked like dangerous because like the guy's pointing the gun towards the camera. But of all the places in this general area he put it, he made the gun barrel line up exactly with the eyes. Remember, the other thing about composition, something you always do whenever a human face is involved, whenever there's a set of eyes in the picture, your eyes go to the eyes first. You always go towards where the recognizable human face is, and then you always go next. You follow the eyes of that person and see what they're looking at. In his case, his eyes are looking this way, barrel's this way. Good morning. Yeah, I'm finishing it. The last two. This is two people, and they're watching some guy ride off on a horse, and it's like a farm, and this is a bale of hay. And the reason I included that is because it's like a storytelling element. It's basically like in this one image you can kind of know what's going on. It's a couple saying goodbye to their son, brother, daughter, person. Bale of hay, farm-like setting here. There's like a little rock wall. They're watching this guy ride off. So it's basically like this little story of a couple saying goodbye to their kid who's going off to join the big city. You know, it's like in that one image you kind of get that going. Most of the weight of the image is here, but everyone in the image is looking at this guy who's on a horse, who's riding off by himself, saying goodbye. I meant to erase that, didn't mean to scribble. Anyway, so it's one of those things. The bale of hay stood out visually against that hill, but in this one image you kind of get the story that it's like a couple happily watching their significant person, I think whether it's a son or someone else they know, ride off into the distance, and they like live on a farm. So he's going away from the farm, and anyway. And then this last one is just like a landscape with like a dude and a horse. And actually I didn't even realize this until I'm just looking at it right now, but there's an area of trees that create a shadow, another area of trees, and then there's like a patch of like, this is like I think a lake that's reflecting the sky. And then you got this shape and this shape. And then this shape here is like a triangle shape. This shape is another triangle shape. And the road is another triangle shape. Basically everything is drawing your eye in to this guy on the horse. And if we look at the previous still, I'm assuming that this guy on the horse here is this guy on the horse. So they're first saying goodbye. And then the next scene is him experiencing the big world. And you got all these lines that are just, this is a mountain behind him, and this is like majestic clouds. And then you got some more of this sequence. Oh, cool. Let's post it up? Mm-hmm. What site is that? Gothic.stir.ac.uk. I'll post it up on the chat before I get off.
The university's site.
Yeah. Can you just send me a link real quick on Facebook? This shape language here is just 1, 2, 3. It's that thing where we have sequenced shapes that lead the eye. And then lastly, we've kind of got this thing going on where got the mountains, got the clouds, got this rhythm, this visual rhythm. Anyway, I think the most important part that I didn't notice right off the bat was that there's these lines that just basically throw you towards the subject, which is the dude and the horse. Anyway, that's all of it. That's everything I did today. So, it's composition breakdowns, and I'm gonna put my name on this. I think yesterday was 18, this is 19. Oh, excuse me. 18/19. So that's kind of what I've gathered from doing this. Beyond that, I'll do more of these tomorrow. Oops, hit the wrong key. But also we've got, over here, I'll close that. Did you share that?
No, not yet.
Oh, what is it real quick? Gothic.
www.gothic.stir.ac.
Oh, there it is. Just came up. Okay. The Gothic Imagination at the University of Stirling. Here we go. Everyone watching the live stream, I'm gonna link this to you. But this is the summer pitch, endless summer pitch, Crimson Daggers. This is a vampires film, which is it's a project I'm working on with my girlfriend and some other friends. It's going to be a feature film about vampires. I'll post this. Post this in the chat so y'all can see it. I don't know where it went. What all? Post in the chat. Maybe it's in the news. Oh yeah, it's in the news. Cool. Anyway, it's a project I'm working on. It's on the front page there right now. We'll be doing Kickstarter, a feature film. Anyway, and then also if you want to see the image up close, it's a bigger image here. It's also on my website. But it's our character. Anyway, thank you for joining me. That's it for today. Kind of went over, but we'll do some more tomorrow. Check out the project. I'll be posting more about it later this week. It's in the chat. Anyway, thank you everybody. I'll post the videos up later.